Order, please.
Dismissed Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been
that allows suspension immediately.
That's Senator Natasha Akpoti. She's a senator representing Kogi Central on the floor of the National Assembly. Well, she's a fearless lady, and you might have known now why she was contesting the election when Yaya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State, wanted to do everything possible to stop her from winning the election. Yaya Bello went as far as destroying the road that led to her home. But she was defiant, she was adamant, and she finally won that election under PDP. This is not the first time she's having an issue with the Senate president on the floor of the National Assembly. I can recall last year when Akpabio incurred the wrath of Nigerians when she referred to Natasha Akpoti by saying that this is not a nightclub. Natasha Akpoti had wanted to speak on the floor of the National Assembly, and Akpabio told her that you cannot speak when you are not invited to speak. This is not a nightclub. Akpabio later apologized over his comment, saying he has received a number of insults from Nigerians, both online and to his phones. Well, we are at it again. This time around, problems started when Natasha Akpoti noticed that her seats were reassigned without her consent, without her notice. Actually, on the floor of the National Assembly, seats are properly reassigned, and you are meant to speak based on how your seat is being assigned. Natasha Akpoti protested the changing of her seat and refused to speak from where her new seat was reassigned, and she spoke from where her old seat was initially placed. Godswill Akpabio refused to allow her to speak from her old seat and asked the sergeant at arms to walk her out of the floor of the National Assembly. That's where temper were let loose, and Senator Natasha Akpoti went directly to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, where you might have said that she's a woman, because I've seen some comments saying she's a woman and she's very emotional. She's trying to play the victim card. She's trying to draw public sympathy, blah, 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 blah.
Are we your slaves? The way you were elected was the way you were elected. Are we your slaves? How else you can suspend me here? Are we your slaves? Every time you keep on picking leadership for us. We are not your slaves. Whether you like it or not, the way you are elected was the way we are elected. We are not your slaves. The way you are elected was the way we are elected. How else you can suspend me? You have done your worst, Mr. President. What do you mean by that? You have done your worst. You have done your worst. You have put us to the wall. Thank you. Yes, we'll start with that. Meaning what? Meaning what? Meaning what? Meaning what? It's unfair. It's unfair. It's not about me, not about any person. It's about the institution of Senate. Thank you, sir.
That's Senator Tony Nwoye, a Labour Party senator representing Anambra North Senatorial District on the floor of the National Assembly, having a go at the Senate President on a live plenary on the floor of the National Assembly in 2023. Senator Tony Nwoye is a man. Therefore, it is not about Natasha Akpoti. It is not about being a woman. It is about Godswill Akpabio. I think the way and manner he is leading the 10th Senate is irrational. When you look at how the 10th Senate has been operating, when you look at the policies that is being churned out from the 10th Senate, you will know that Godswill Akpabio is the worst Senate president that this country has ever produced. From the way he speaks, from the way he discusses national politics, from the way bills are being passed, from the way the 10th Senate has been hijacked by the executive arm of government, from the way he eulogized Bola Ahmed Tinubu openly. Of course, we all know that Akpabio is an APC senator and Bola Ahmed Tinubu is also an APC senator. But first, Akpabio's allegiance is to the people of Nigeria. Therefore, it is totally disgraceful to see what is happening on the floor of the National Assembly. It is a shame. The National Assembly is the most powerful government institution in Nigeria, followed by the judiciary. If the National Assembly and the judiciary are effective in carrying out their duties, the country will work effectively, the country will progress. But if these two institutions are captured, are docile, and not performing their functions, their primary role, then the country will keep going backward. This explains why Nigeria is going backward. I could remember when President Olusegun Obasanjo wanted to seek for a third term. It was the National Assembly that stopped his third term agenda. But today, what do we have? We have a National Assembly that is playing a script that is given to them by the executive arm of government. Bills are being passed without public debate. Bills are being passed without opposition voice of dissent. Contracts are being awarded without due diligence and deliberation. That is the reason why the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway was awarded without any deliberation. Today, they are struggling to fund that project. Money are being borrowed without deliberation, and the country is highly indebted. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has come in and increased our debt profile. Aside representing the people and making laws that will favor the people, the work of the National Assembly is to also run check and balance on the executive. They hold the executive to account. They ensure that the executive delivers on the promises that him or she made to the Nigerian people. But you all know that this is all missing on the floor of the National Assembly. When you go to other countries, for instance the UK and the United States of America, you will see a proper National Assembly where it's being called different names in this country. For instance, in the UK that run a parliamentary system of government, they are being called the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Now the work of the members of the parliamentarians is checking the work of government. Their role is to examine and challenge the work of the government through questioning ministers. They question the ministers that are working with the Prime Minister. And this are being done regularly. I wonder how many times you've seen the National Assembly questioning the ministers that are working under Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They also check and approve government spending and taxation. That we don't even see it on the floor of the National Assembly. One interesting thing that I've seen on the floor of the parliamentarians in UK and which I enjoy so much is debating. Both houses of the parliament hold debates in which members discuss government policy. They propose new laws and topical issues of the day. The members of the parliament in the UK are cut out from two major political parties, the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. The leader of the Labour Party is Keir Starmer, who is the Prime Minister now, and the leader of the Conservative Party is Kemi Badenoch. On so many occasions, you have seen Kemi Badenoch and Keir Starmer debating policies. They debate government issues. They go at each other. They challenge each other. They have a proper and constructive debate that are very crucial to the growth of UK. On several occasions, the next Prime Minister from UK comes from this debate. How sound are your policies? How beneficial are your policies to the growth and prosperity of UK and to the welfare of the UK citizens? This will determine if you will become the UK Prime Minister. No sentiment, emotional, tribal or religious attachment. Everything is simply ideas, good, sound ideas, and this is the reason why UK is progressing. It is not because they colonized Nigeria. These are the kind of thing we expect to be seen on the floor of the National Assembly in Nigeria, but we are not seeing that. All we are seeing is the senators shouting at each other. If they are not singing on your mandate, we shall stand to the president when he comes to present the budget on the floor of the National Assembly. And of course, this is the first time we are seeing all of this simply because of Godswill Akpabio. They are either debating on budget padding or debating one irrelevant law that is not going to even affect or add meaningful contribution to Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole. At the end of the day, these senators will cut home large amount of money as constituency allowance and bogus salaries. Every day they come to the floor of the National Assembly and the country is not moving forward. What exactly is their function? This is the reason why Nigerians do not take them serious. This is the reason why there are calls that the floor of the National Assembly should be scrapped out. They consume so much budget without adding any meaningful contribution to the growth of Nigeria. But to be fair to other National Assembly members that have graced the floor of the National Assembly in the time past, we have people like the great Senator Okadibo. This is a towering Senate president that ensured that there was decorum on the floor of the National Assembly, that ensured that proper laws were being passed. We have Senator Adolphus Nwabara, the Senate president, a PDP senator that stood still and firm and ensured that Olusegun Obasanjo did not get his way through when he was seeking for a third term as the president of Nigeria. Maybe you did not understand what that means. Just imagine Godswill Akpabio telling Bola Ahmed Tinubu to go to hell, refusing Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have his way on national issues. This is exactly the same thing that Adolphus Nwabara did to President Olusegun Obasanjo. And of course, Adolphus Nwabara is an Igbo man, he's from Enugu State. So we have had men and women on the floor of the National Assembly who put Nigeria first, who ensure that Nigerians get laws that are beneficial to them. So it might not only be about the National Assembly, it might just be about the people that have graced the National Assembly so far. And we began to see the decline of issues that are being discussed on the National Assembly. We began to see how the National Assembly was being captured since APC took over power. It became a party thing rather than a Nigerian thing. From 2015 till now, Senator Bukola Saraki also gave President Muhammadu Buhari a very tough time. Of course, that happened when he switched from APC to the PDP. You have Ahmed Lawan, one of the most useless Senate presidents we've had, and now we are having Godswill Akpabio, the most useless Senate president we have had in this country. So if you need to have your Senate back, you need to ensure that you take APC away from national politics. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.